You started the last 2 episodes with a confession.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a confession.
Lay it on me.
I at least appeared to be a nit at a poker game.
I thought this was supposed to be like a surprising, shocking confession. These are things I know about you, Craig.
It's not true. It's not true. You were actually there. So you witnessed this run like God session that I had where it appeared that I only played the nuts, but it's because I only had the nuts. Like every single hand I had the nuts. So
yeah, well, when you only play like 10% of your hands, then that will happen a lot.
This was, I believe, the first time that we've played poker together. You bullied me. We'll talk about that later.
I bully everyone. It's my gig.
Yeah, I thought I might get a little bit of a pass, but no. We played super, super late night. We played at Red Star. You actually ran into an old friend when we first walked in. So you
Shout out Sam.
Yeah, you didn't play the first part of the session, so I didn't get bullied at all. It was great. You left. You guys closed down the bars, and you came back like an hour and a half later, and I had like tripled up, and you were like, "Oh, looks like you're doing well."
Yeah.
And I said, "Yeah, I've played one hand." And you're like, "It's been 2 hours." And I was like, "Yeah, I just keep getting like, Queen 6 and, Jack 3. Like, I'm not going to play those hands. And then I get pocket jacks
were
and I
they
tripled
suited?
up.
Were you in absolute position, Craig? Let's
None
pump
of
the
that.
brakes here.
None of that. None of that. So it did appear quite nitty. I mean, I'm like fold, over, shove, all in, get 2 calls, have pocket jacks, and they hold. So, I tripled up. That's how I got to where you joined us.
I mean, to be frank, that's my favorite way to play poker is when it's just easy and you just have easy decisions and you just double up and then the rest of your hands are garbage. Like, that's a fucking dream. Like, that's a cake walk.
Yeah, but you look like a nit. And then your friends or your fellow podcast hosts are like, you're a fucking nit. You sit here and tell people don't be a nit, and then you're going to play like the nittiest of nits. So then I went ahead and flopped a set on you after you were giving me shit.
Oopsies. I don't remember this hand. Did I fold? Or did you get full value?
Yeah, you went ahead and tried to bully me in that hand as well. But then when I raised, you were like snap mucked. So clearly you were bullying.
Well, yeah, because your raises mean something. Mine do not.
This was after I flopped top set, and when I had to show it because it was an all-in hand, I had to show it to win. I turned over aces for top set, top boat, and you're like, "Oh, of course you have aces."
Yeah, why wouldn't you? Welcome to the Texas Poker Experience, everyone. My name's Caitlin Carolyn. I'm here with my co-host Craig, and this week we are joined by a very special guest. I am so proud to introduce one of my dear friends who's been a part of the poker OG community with me. We love her. Please welcome to your ears, super producer Carolyn, aka the real Carolyn Hapgood.
Hi. Thanks so much for having me.
Of course, your dream.
I'm super pumped to be here. I'm going to stop touching the stuff on the table.
Oh, I touch the stuff constantly.
Oh, good.
Fidgeting
Okay,
is
because
fun.
I'm fidgety, so.
Yeah, it's like Ricky Bobby. Like, I don't know what to do in my
Yeah. There's so many things to touch. I want to touch them all.
Well, welcome, Carolyn. Let's start out by finding out a little bit about what brought you to Texas. I know, like, you talk funny. Like, you definitely don't talk like you're from around here. Where the hell are you from?
I'm originally from southern New Hampshire. So just about like an hour north of Boston. And my husband and I moved down here 3-ish years ago, just about. And part of what brought us down here was poker. We also had family sort of nearby, and we were sick of winter and all kinds of other things. And it just was, a perfect storm of things that brought us down to Texas. But one of those things was the opening of legal poker rooms in Texas, because my husband has been in the poker industry for a long, long time. He went to dealing school out in Vegas and worked at Golden Nugget in Vegas, and then Foxwoods. And
yeah, Carolyn bagged her a good one. She got her a tall tree of a man, or natural redhead, if you will. Shout out to Timmy.
I love you.
Caitlin, do I sound funny?
Yeah, you do sound like real weird. Like you're from North, but I can't even place it. Like I want to say Kansas.
I'll give you a hint. You're outnumbered at this table. I am from New Hampshire as well.
What?
Yeah, I was very surprised when you said that. I did not know that about you.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah,
Where in New Hampshire?
So I grew up in Henniker. I moved to Henniker when I was 9, and then moved away when I was 25, I think. Yeah, 25. Moved away. So it's been like 13 years in Austin now. So
Yeah. I'm from Manchester-ish. Same hometown as Slick Rick.
Oh, nice. Small world.
Yeah.
Did you know Adam
about
Sandler
Ricky
too?
either.
Yeah, crazy, right?
Wow.
Poker in New Hampshire is booming there too. It's pretty crazy out there, especially with everything like the Encore in Boston shutting down for COVID. Poker in New Hampshire is hot.
I remember last time my family, my grandfather and grandmother had a place in Kennebunkport, Maine.
Yes, and we've discussed
this in the past. And if you want to make assumptions on me based on that fact, feel free.
They're probably true.
But anyway, last time we were up in Kennebunk, like a couple of years ago, I was trying to like Google where the nearest poker room was, and it was going to be like 2 hours south in New Hampshire.
Yep.
What would that have been? Which room is that?
From Kennebunkport, probably
Sharkies or Chasers or one of the OGs
or
there in
Hampton
Manchester.
Falls or the Brook would be.
Yeah, Seabrook.
Yep. So the ones that are like the most action are going to be Chasers or Boston Billiards in Nashua or
That's where Rampage kind of got his start.
Yeah.
A lot of Boston Billiards.
He's from the Boston area and has been playing through COVID, so most of his play has been in New Hampshire when he's up there.
Leave the state.
Yeah.
So what was the culture shock like for both of you? I guess I can ask you this: moving from a New England town to the heart of the Lone Star State.
Like from New Hampshire, almost none. Like they
Elaborate.
are the only major difference I would say culturally between New Hampshire and Texas is there's a lot more church in Texas. But besides that, culturally speaking, they're both super conservative.
Mm-hmm.
So like New Hampshire is kind of this like conservative island in the middle of very liberal New England.
Mm-hmm.
So I think people associate it as like New England and being more liberal, but really New Hampshire's got no taxes, live free or die, like let's go.
Does it have the same like sort of colloquial friendly energy like in New Hampshire games and in New Hampshire society where like if you're walking down the street and you make eye contact with someone in Texas? I grew up to say hi there, how are you? Like
I mean, I would say like you smile at people and they're like you're not going to be rude, and like granted if you're in Boston, don't smile at anybody.
Yeah.
Unless you want to get hurt.
Instead of a hi, how are you? How's your family?
Or just like a smile and a nod or something.
You might get like the the head nod thing.
There is something so attractive about like a really just like aloof jerk of a man from Boston.
I know.
It's like
so
that
many
Good
of
Will
them.
Hunting like fantasy.
But you're not wrong though. You're not wrong.
Well, there's
we
tons
should
of them,
not
Caitlin.
encourage that behavior.
But it's also irresistible.
I don't know why.
I mean, just take a trip, Caitlin. There's tons of them there.
Yeah.
Send me your best leads. Oh my goodness. Do you agree with that, Craig? That there was like literal cultural shock for you as well?
My major shock when I moved here, outside of the weather, which was expected. I knew what the weather was going to be like, and hot. To me, hot is hot, and hot doesn't bother me. But what
Agreed.
bothered me here culturally is that the Northeast is just like, if you're doing something, you're doing it to get it done. And then you move on with your life. And here, it's like you go to the bank, it's like a social occasion. And
Yes,
I'm like,
people are.
take this fucking check. I want to get out of here. Like, let's go.
No one is in any rush to get
Right.
anything done around here.
Traffic here
For
is
sure.
so slow. Like, there's just so much inefficiency of things getting done.
I'm going to go ahead and say I will sit in traffic in the state of Texas anywhere before I sit in traffic in the commute from Manchester, New Hampshire to Boston, Massachusetts, which is like a total of like 40 miles. Takes 3 hours during rush hour. It's the craziest. And literally what they do, so it's the highway is 2 lanes. And during rush hour, they just open up the breakdown lane to traffic. You just drive in the
Hope you
breakdown
don't
lane.
have a heart attack or go into labor, babies.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if
and then-
so, get on the grass. Thank you.
So I will sit in
Hope you have
traffic
four-wheel
here
drive.
all day, every day over that without any complaint.
Yeah, traffic is a numbers game, but what I'm more referencing is like just people going under the speed limit and people
I
not
say
being in a
this
hurry to leave a
all
red
the
light.
time when I'm driving around here is that like the Texas way for driving is either 95 or 45 on the highway.
Accurate.
And it's the people who are going 45 that are going to get us killed. Like, I don't care how fast, just go fast.
Yeah, the roads are flat. The roads are good. You can see a long ways.
Everything's
They're
like
usually
5
warm and dry.
lanes
So 95
and-
is plenty safe, and 45 is obnoxious.
It's going to kill
I'm
us.
seeing a
Yeah.
theme in Craig's rage. I think it's almost always directly at the elderly, and I think you should examine that. He wants to fucking wreck old man coffee, and he gets road rage from fucking grandpa trying to go 40 in the right. You know what? If he goes faster, he loses control of the wheel, guys.
Maybe you shouldn't drive at all then.
Yeah.
Maybe it's time to
I'm
put
with
that
you.
car
Put him out
away.
to
with you.
pasture. Take him out behind the barn. God, do you hear yourself? Do you hear yourself?
What do you think I'm going to be like as an old man?
I don't think you're going to
Reckless.
have the nutritional intake to get you there, but if you do.
So those who know me know I don't have a whole lot of interest in being old, but I have said if I end up in a home, like, those nurses they're all going to quit. They're all going to quit. I'm probably going to be the worst old man ever once I just like give zero fucks anymore.
But you say that, but the nurses, I'm going to just go out on a limb, are going to love that. Because they love those guys who are just
It's
like...
back to that asshole Boston
Exactly,
stereotype.
exactly. Like, you think you're being an asshole, but really you're being, like, funny. They're like,
Yeah.
I'm so sick of these old people who are like, oh, sweetie.
Boy, I
thank
hope
you
they
so
find it
much."
funny.
Like,
I can't
"God."
wait to give him a sponge bath. I don't know about this narrative, y'all.
All right, I didn't go that far.
Boy, I hope they find it humorous. If they can find humor in it, then good on them.
I will say, I worked in a retirement community. It was like an upscale retirement community. I worked as like a server there when I was in high school. So I was like 17. And the old people who were like super sarcastic, really dry and mean were the funniest ones that we like. There's a line, because there's also the ones that are just like horribly miserable and cruel. That's not cool. But like the ones who are just like sweet and old and talk slow and soft, and you're like, oh my God, just tell me what you want to eat. Let's go.
Craig thinks all the orderlies are like in love with him. He's like, hey, Missy, is that my colostomy bag, or are you just happy to see me?
Feel free to put your butt in my hand if you want.
You just leave it out there. I'll back on into it. All right, let's get back on track here. So you came with your gorgeous tree redhead Irish husband to Texas. You're in the poker industry. You're working at Texas Card House. And about the beginning of 2019, was it? They decide they're going to do a live stream, and you enshrine yourself in the annals of Texas poker streaming history by becoming super producer Carolyn. Can you tell us a little bit about your journey into TCH Live waters?
So I will say right now, I took on the role. I volunteered myself for it because I didn't trust anybody else.
We stand a capable queen. Yes, that's right. If you want something done right, you do it yourself.
That's exactly why I was like, I need this stream to be successful, because at the time, both me and my husband worked there full time. And I was like, yo, this can't go poorly, because we still got to bring home money. So like, let's make sure this goes well. I'm going to do it. And I'm very glad that I made that decision, because it did go well. And I think everyone else who was considering helping out on the stream was like, yeah, I'll do it. That's cool. Yeah, I'll do it. And then flaked. So I was like, all right, well, I guess this is my thing now.
Way to step up to the plate. I love a good because I have to narrative.
Yeah. If you want things done right, you just do it yourself sometimes. So that's how that happened. And then, it's just been one of those things that's kind of escalated from there, where, I was really just there to push buttons at first. And
Don't say that though. Like, action tracking actually takes a lot of like focus and
It does.
attention.
Sure.
And you were really good at that. Nobody has ever said anything to the otherwise. Like, you were the first one to figure it out, and you did, and then you trained everyone that did it after you. Like, take your props. I'm giving them.
I will take that. And it's not, it's tedious. And it's tends to be, I will say it could be a very thankless job, because you kind of sit there and you're, not participating in the stream necessarily. Like, you are at the helm, and if things go wrong, it's probably on you. But like, if nobody knows your name, that's kind of standard. But I got props from the commentators and stuff at the time. So that gave me, so I was very grateful for that. So
no, and you were like a character on the show. Like you were like Robin with Howard Stern, both with Mike and
that's
Aaron.
Exactly what I was thinking. I was like,
no, like they would shoot it to you. You could hear you talk. And like when I was co-commentating, sometimes I would repeat what you were saying. And then like I listened to it when I wasn't on it and I was like, oh, they can just like hear her.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yep, for sure. I knew that. I knew they could hear me when I was like, I hope they can hear me right now.
No, like you were a character from the very beginning. You were going to be sassy and assertive and you were going to call it like it was. Like you were yourself from the very beginning and like people speak very affectionately of you in the chat. You're a very big character. And now you're doing commentary on Monday with Aaron almost every week. How has that been? How do you enjoy that portion of the evolution?
Well, that I do strictly for shits and giggles because I think it's fun. And it is. And I mean, I have a blast with it and it's been really it's really just been fun for me. So that's the best of all things is just to be able to go in and do something and kind of sort of get paid for it and have a blast. So that's yeah.
Doing something you're passionate about and getting paid for it is kind of a surreal feeling.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I'm all about that. And I mean, it probably makes me a better poker player, but I don't know. Who knows?
I bet.
It might maybe make me a worse poker player sometimes.
I'm sure Aaron thinks he's improving your skill.
We're gonna go ahead and say I probably do whatever Aaron says that like, oh, this is how I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do the exact opposite.
Aaron's been giving me so much credit lately on the stream. It's adorable because I fuck up on the stream all the time. I have like absolutely terrible. I'm swimming in deep waters and sometimes I like really fuck up and he has to call it like it is. But I think he tries to be fair to me more recently where he'll like really point out all the things I'm doing correctly. And he's like, yes, I laid open with King 3 suited. That's really what you want to do.
Usually the word maybe from the commentary is bad. It's like, maybe she was going for a, whatever. It's like, oh, shit, that means that was not the right move.
Oh, no, Caitlin just taking a stab at it for no reason right into the nuts. Whoopsies. Whoopsies on her.
Just because Aaron doesn't understand, like, I was at the table with him yesterday, and he was going on about how, like, sometimes these people just take these really creative lines that I don't understand, and they're like, these players are so good, and I'm like, or I mean, so what? So we should all just go bonkers, and Aaron has no idea what to do, and we'll give you all his chips. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, it's really different when you can
say
see
maybe
the cards
on the stream. Like maybe they were like,
maybe
Aaron
he's being
doesn't
really creative.
get it,
yeah.
Or maybe you're being super creative, and that means you're just exceptional.
I don't know about that.
Maybe you're just spewing.
No. I do my best. I'm still early in my poker journey. We'll find our way.
I think if someone's like not just always calling, as long as someone's taking any aggression at any point, you can almost always find some genius in it. If you really look deep enough, it's like I always tell people, like, you can't make any money in this game calling. Like, you got to be ambitious. And I don't know if they truly understand where I'm going with that when I say you can't make money calling, but I mean, that's pretty much the only thing you can do wrong in poker is just be calling. If you're being aggressive, like I told a hand story here where I 5-bet 5 high pre-flop. I was in a small game and it was against a good friend, so it really didn't matter. But I was like, in a real game with like a real tough player, like they might lay down jacks there and I have 5 high. Mm-hmm. They might lay down queens depending on how snug they are and how big that shove is. Like that could work. Now, in this game, the guy just like snap called, showed me aces, and like dunked on me, but whatever.
Yeah, but it's pre-flop. You still got outs.
Right. Yeah, don't worry. I didn't get there. We ran it a bunch of times. There,
but if you do, then it looks brilliant, Yeah. If you just run out like, oh, I just ran out of straight flush. So
they're like, how did he know? And they're like, well, maybe.
I had some rose quartz in my pocket, so I thought this was going to be a really good line to take. Really thought I was going to connect there. Oh, my Lord.
All right, Carolyn, we wanted to pick your brain about something. Okay. I'm going to preface it as not Texas, but it is too compelling not to discuss.
Yes.
There's a character from some other live streams, from Texas live streams as well, kind of her beginning. There's a character called Poker Bunny. Have you heard of her?
I have heard of her. I've met her, in fact. I have met her.
Give us your 2 pennies.
So, I did discuss this on TCH Live at one point. My thoughts on her are that I will give her all the credit in the world for putting in a ton of time in all of the different aspects of what she's doing in creating a character for herself, studying a lot, obviously playing a lot. And the other thing that she's doing, I think, is, using what God gave her and just
the assets.
Yeah. And I respect that, I think she's very young. She's probably very naive. Maybe not so much. But you gotta work with what you got. And I don't know that she would be able to create a personality for herself create a character for herself based on her personality. So she's going with what she's got.
Short stack in the personality department.
Yeah, from my experience interacting with her, nothing negative to say about her personality in a face-to-face interaction. Just literally nothing to say about her personality.
So let's get into it. Let's break it down. I'm going to lay down some of the facts that have been going on and update our audience that is not up to date with Huster Casino live stream events. Poker Bunny is a 23-year-old girl. She spent time in Australia playing lower stakes, and then she moved to Las Vegas, where she's been for at least like 2 or 3 years, I believe.
I don't know. When I met her, she said she lived in Costa Rica, so I don't know. Who knows, man?
A lot of these details are going to be hearsay. They're going to be like Reddit forum fodder and like shit we've heard. So like take it all with a grain of salt. We're not fucking journalists. But so Poker Bunny is a 23-year-old girl who's been on Huster Casino Live before she made her debut on that show. She did play TCH Live. It was what Carolyn's referring to. She's played TCH Dallas. There are a lot of rumors surrounding her personal interactions. I've heard multiple stories about her blowing up, getting emotional, yelling at management. Most recently, there was a rather explosive show on Huster Casino Live this last Friday night that I thought was absolutely stunning, reality TV. And I would want her on every week if she could provide this type of drama and engagement, both on Twitter, during and after the show, as well as the live chat and the live stream. Anyway, what happened? Garrett Adelstein is on a fucking sun run, looking like as pussy magnet as ever, just like fucking jacked at the table. He hit 2 sets. He's just like getting there and getting paid. He goes up $200K. Meanwhile, he's like casually talking about taking his little brother to Universal. Like he's also philanthropic. Like, honey, we're ready for you. Like, it's a little too thick. It's a little too much sometimes, Garrett. It's a little too much. But anyway, yeah, we all stand Garrett. Anyway, Poker Bunny gets into this hand around the 4-hour mark where there's an open for 1,200 from the cutoff. She's in the small blind. She looks down at ace jack suited. She 3-bets to 5,000. Her opponent goes all in for 11,000. She pretty quickly mucks, and then she eyes a stack and she realized that she thought he had way more than he did and that it was only another 6K to call, and she's getting a reasonable price to, get it in that spot. And she really, you see, even the commentators are talking about it, like deer in the headlights, like, oh, dear God, all across her face. After not too long, she gets up and leaves the table. We don't see or hear from her. And Garrett's left at the table, and they don't, of course, cut the feed or whatever, but they're 4-handed now. So Blank Check Ben is like, I don't want to play 4-handed. We're playing 1-200. This is silly. And so he breaks. Garrett stays at the table and does like an impromptu podcast with the dealer talking about, interesting topics about being a poker player in Los Angeles that we all want to know. So they don't get an audience drop off at all. Eventually, Blank Check Ben comes in. He's still mic'd up. He doesn't realize he's still mic'd, and he says something to the effect of, she really shouldn't be playing the stream. She melted down. And then he's like, do you think we're still on air? Like, this is all still live on YouTube, like compelling shit. And Garrett's like, no, we're 100% on air. So I think that's going to be all they're going to say about it. But they get Ryan Feldman, who's one of the producers, to sit down. Once they get all settled, they're playing 5-handed again. And Blank Check Ben doubles down again. And he says she shouldn't be playing the stream. She melted down. Ironically, this coming from Blank Check Ben, who's had at least 2 very public viral meltdowns on the show already. But anyway, And then he hints at drama at the Aria. And the only thing I can think the Aria drama is like, I know she got mad at management, and there are tweets that have since been deleted, but I saw them myself the day they were posted, where she got into some type of altercation with a massage therapist or a floor guy, or it was like a service issue. Like she was complaining about her service as a high stakes player in the room. And I think that's what he's referring to, but I have absolutely no commitment on that. So... And then the next morning, hold on, last two things. Bunny posted on the next morning, like saying, you know, her whole, sometimes she'll go on Twitter and do the whole poor me thing. And then Garrett like responds to her. So it's just like, this is how we bring more people into poker. Like, this is genius. Now we're creating a whole ecosystem. Every poker podcast, including ours, gets to hash this out now, you know?
Yeah. Can I be harsh and not necessarily fair?
Yeah. That's what we're here for.
I think she's great for poker. I think she's hazardous to herself. I mean,
that actually seems very fair.
I don't see her winning. I think she's swimming in deeper waters than she's capable of. I don't want to play against her. I'm sure she's better than me. I'm not like talking down about
Another
her play
thing
like
I
I'm
have
some
heard
better
about
player.
her, in fairness, is that the online community has great respect for her and that she is a well-respected player amongst...
Maybe that's what's got her so off, is that when she's at a live game and everyone else, poker's very community oriented. I mean, other people, we've talked about this when we talk about people playing slow or not paying attention. It's like, hey, that's a pain in the ass for everybody. It costs the dealer money. It costs other players time. Like, you got to pay attention. And that's like the selfish quality that I hate, is like she thinks that the world revolves around her when she gets up and leaves a 5-handed game and leaves them for 20 minutes. And she didn't even say like, I'm done. I'm not in this mentally, so I'm leaving. Cause then everyone could have acted accordingly. But instead she just like gets up and storms off, and it's like, is she coming back? She actually added on in that time frame. I don't know if you noticed that.
I didn't.
One of the floor guys brought over 10K. So she topped up and then just never came back to the table.
I mean, I don't want to be too harsh on the whole meltdown part of it, because like Blank Check Ben got really mad at Ron for showing him his cards, which is like, I would be annoyed too if I was stuck infinite and somebody kept showing me the nuts. And like Blank Check is the recreational player that does get to like fucking read him to filth. Like, that was gold. That was hilarious. And then like when he thought Poker Bunny was trying to angle him, he wins the hand and then storms off. I think those antics are on par with Poker Bunny's. And like, to say that she broke the game, she did not. Garrett broke the game by beating it to like a bloody pulp.
Yeah, that was some pure
Wesley left
running.
the table first when he was flustered. The other guy left the table when she was the third person. And like, honestly, there were a couple of spots where like, wow, she folded nines in a single raised pot from the small blinds or whatever it was. And it was like, well, I mean, like, you're sitting to the direct right of Garrett Adelstein, sitting in front of like $200,000. Like, that's a little high stress, you know? I think we should give like her some credit for.
He bought in for 150. He had like close to $500,000 by the time that stream was over.
All right. Sorry about that, y'all. We had some technical difficulties, but we're here talking about the Poker Bunny facing off against Garrett Adelstein, getting flustered and giving her the due respect for being stressed out by that high stress situation. But I do think that if that sort of behavior happened in Texas, like, the players they would just refuse to play with her. I think that Hustler is right to stand behind her. She's driving the conversation in so many poker conversations. Bart Hansen is having his most popular video talking about her. I'm sure the Solve for Why guys are going to get into it on their podcast. Like, it's a compelling story, and stories need conflict if you're going to appeal to a broader audience. So I have that. But that being said, like, if I acted like that, like, throwing angry fits, getting mad at employees and stuff, I don't know that I would be welcome on the streams anymore.
Let me ask you, if she gets it in on stream for piles and she's like slightly ahead, she's got like 55% equity, are you rooting for her to hold, or are you rooting for her to get caught up on? And
I don't know that I even have an opinion as her as a person, because I've just heard so many different things. Like, I want to have her back. Like, naturally, like, I'm inclined to be like, women in poker, let's fucking go. We're all in this together. But I've heard people that I really respect point to different behaviors and things that she's done and been like, that's not okay. We have to hold that accountable. I do think that she's very young, but I'm rooting for her. I want her to be successful, and I'm rooting for poker to grow. And when you're rooting for poker to grow, you have to root for the characters that are going to grow it. So in that sense, yeah. And I think like, how cool would it be if she crushed Garrett one night and like took him for $100K? I feel like that would be equally compelling, all the personal drama that would come out of that. So like whether or not, I've never met her, I don't want to make a cast a judgment on whether or not I like her or whatever, but if I think characters like her and her specifically are important for the current climate of poker, because if it were all about the poker, those shows are a little droll, and I don't think that it'll ever expand beyond the niche market of poker. If you want to get women interested in poker, make it fucking messy. Sounds good, BB? You know?
I mean, the reality is that everything that she's going through right now, all of these, issues where she's blowing up on stream or whatever, they're all things that most people who play poker are going to go through at some point in their career. It just so happens that she's doing it on a live stream and for stakes that most poker players will never play at ever. So it's different, and it's kind of unfair for her to, be put in those spots and then be just said like, oh, she's to say anything bad about it. Cause like you probably had similar experiences, but you did it at a 1-2 game that wasn't a live stream. So like you probably blew up the same way. Maybe she's in too deep. Yes, that might be true if she can't handle herself in those spots. But to like pass judgment on her to say that she's, totally out of line, it's like, well, no, we all have done that, and we've learned to deal with our emotions better, or probably either just tilt all our money away or quit poker.
Poker players are divas, like on the whole. Like it takes a certain amount of ego and what's it called? What's it called? Vanity to want to do this. To want to even care to be good at poker or to play or to gamble or to like have that adrenaline rush from playing. That takes a certain type of personality. Like we're not all going to be like walking anomalies like Garrett Adelstein, who is just like, good Lord, where did you come from? Did the angels spin you on a loom of gold? Like it's dumb how perfect he is. It's starting to piss me off the more I talk about it, actually. No, but like all high stakes players are divas. And, yeah, I've definitely like, if some guy says something that rubs me the wrong way at a poker table, I will absolutely let him have it and verbally assault him for sure. So, and I haven't been in these situations that she's been in, these specific ones. I wasn't there. I didn't bear witness to it, but I do think that she should continue to appear on these programs.
You've been in the situation
there should be
you
characters
just described.
like her.
I've seen it.
Yeah, Craig's watched me be a real jerk to a gentleman who deserved it.
Do not double cross Caitlin Carolyn, or you will regret it.
I'm so ruthless.
That I know. That's true.
You don't want to put a cap on Poker Bunny.
Yep. So we wish her well. I'm rooting for her. I think like it's nice to have the discussion. I think it's like an interesting topic, but I'm rooting for her specifically and characters like her in poker.
I hope she keeps playing, but I kind of hope she gets crushed.
Why do you want her to get crushed? Well, Craig has this thing about women using their sexuality to build a brand.
There's
he does.
No,
it bothers you. You'll talk about women golfers and stuff. You'll be like, oh yeah, like selling your ass. You're going to like fucking sell out like that. Like you're that guy.
Nah, I really have no problem with it. I would do the same thing if I was in her shoes. No. The difference is like how you handle the attention that you've asked for. You have brought it on yourself. So how you handle that attention when it's positive or negative, either way, you opened the door. You invited it in. You got compensated for it. Like, that is why you're here. There's probably people that would love to be on Huster live stream, but they get passed up for Poker Bunny's 9th appearance because they're just a boring dude.
So, and they should get passed up.
Yeah, they should get passed up. We don't want boring dudes. Yeah.
Right. I totally get it. But that's what I'm saying is like when you have a good night, you're going to be very positively judged. When you have a bad night, if you're, I'm talking like attitude and everything, exactly what we're talking about, you're going to be judged for that too. Positive.
No, if you put
negative.
yourself out there, you have to be willing to take the criticism with
Absolutely.
the praise. 100%.
Yeah. You can take my route and just like stay the hell out of the live chat. I I quit doing commentary. I'm like, I never want to look at this live chat again. Y'all fuckers are mean.
It's true.
It's true. It's very true. I will say they're usually pretty nice to me, but
well, you're their little darling.
I know.
You're their
I
little
don't even know how it
sweetheart.
happened. I was just really like loud and abrasive.
I do.
From
I
the
don't want to
background.
discredit that I have a lot of people that root for me in the chat, and I have a lot of
And
chat posts that
I
are
mean,
super
I get
nice to
people
me, so I
who-
want to acknowledge that too. But there are the occasional trolls.
Yeah, and people troll me too. It's whatever. And I'm very happy being like a supporting character in whatever role that I'm playing because I don't want to invite too much criticism either. So I appreciate the praise. I don't really need it. That's not what I'm doing any of this for.
I need the praise. Mail it directly at my house. Care of Caitlin Carolyn.
Well, I want to talk about our sponsors.
Let's do it.
We have back again, Patch Addict.
Patch Addict.
These items all over the table that Carolyn's just like, oh, I got to play with these. Those are patches.
Patch
You can iron them right on that shirt you're wearing, your jeans, your backpack, your jacket, anything you want. A little parchment paper, hot iron. Just go ahead and stick it on there. Wear your pride in your sleeve. www.patchaddict.com.
Great name.
Use,
It's a great name.
yeah,
I like it.
If you are addicted to patches, they will help you find a vein. Go to www.patchaddict.com. You can put Texas Poker into the coupon code BOX and you'll save 20% in your order. There's no minimum. And go support our podcast and support your passions with Patch Addict.
Thank you, Patch Addict.
Also, we have a sponsor, Double Down Casino Events. If anyone's ever played their neighborhood poker game on a dining room table or a countertop, we know how cringe that is. It's nice to have a little bit of padding there, a little bit of felt, maybe even padding to put your forearms on. If you want to buy a table like that, I can certainly point you in the right direction. But if you want to just rent one for the night and have a professional dealer come in and deal your poker game, we've also got roulette tables, blackjack tables. We can do the full thing. I mean, we can do anything that you want. Bring it right to your door. Professional dealers. We bring
Anything
all
you
the
want.
chips,
You heard
all the equipment. We've got it all. You just have to show up and have fun. So you can check Double Down Casino Events out at www.doubledowncasinoevents.com. You can give them a call for a quote for your party, 512-945-2363. You can check them out on Instagram at Double Down Casino Events. You can get a look at some of the equipment and see how professional it looks.
Hell yeah. Double Down Casino Events
So
for all your casino needs.
let's talk top 5.
Top 5.
And before we start the top 5, do we maybe want to give Carolyn a little bit of warning to like keep an eye out for something she can be mean about in 10 minutes?
Oh, yeah. We're going to roast each other at the end of the episode. So
Okay.
We do a thing called harsh but fair.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
Everybody does everybody. So you got to think of something mean to say to Caitlin and myself.
I don't want to get hit.
No, I'm not violent. I will assault you with my words.
Okay, fair.
But you have to accept your feedback and just say that is harsh, but that is fair.
Harsh
Yeah,
but fair. It's a
I-
call and response.
I can. I'll take it. It's cool. I haven't come up with anything yet, so I'm just gonna absorb.
You got-
I never come
you
up
got a
with
little
anything
while.
advanced. I have no idea what I'm going to say about
Yeah,
you
guess I'm
because I
gonna have
like
to-
you.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm thinking. I'm like,
It's easy for me to think of things for Craig because he drives me banana sandwiches on the regular.
Yeah, this shit's easy for me. It comes natural. All right, our top 5. We have, it's being that we were talking a bunch of streams and stuff, we have top 5, characters on the stream, people you love to find out are on the stream the night that you tune in to watch it. So number
Texas edition. Texas only
yes,
edition.
Texas streamers. Number 5, Westlake Matt.
Westlake Matt. I love this kid. I've played with him a lot over there because everyone plays with him a lot because he's, ubiquitous and he's so talented. He's super fun, but he's super shy. He doesn't really like to be friends off the felt. Like I do have his number. I'll text him occasionally about poker related things. And he does this with everybody. I mean, maybe he has people he likes, but I'll like send him like a novel and get like, okay back.
Or
All
perhaps
those young boys do that to me. Like Gordon does that to me too with like these little 1-word responses. And I'm like, Mama trying to be there for you and you won't let me.
I heard you have a particular disdain for the K period text.
Oh my gosh. If you
Doesn't
text
everyone?
me K, I
man.
think you hate me.
Caitlin went
think
on
you
a
hate me.
diatribe one night about how
like,
much she
in your
hates
head, it always sounds like it's like K. Yeah. And once you put, especially if you put the period there.
It comes with an eye roll. Yeah.
I would rather you just like give me a thumbs up or an emoji at that point.
That's my choice of response.
By choosing one letter, it's just like, fuck you.
You chose one letter, but you took the time to put the period there to like. Just
punctuate it. Punctuate the disrespect. Make sure I know it's over now.
Yeah.
I have a question about Westlake Matt.
Yes.
When does he turn 20?
I think he's 25 by now. Yeah, 24, 25.
He's been 15 for as long as I've known him.
The kid is like not actually a kid anymore, which is crazy.
Yeah. Well, for the lore of Westlake Matt, and he would hate it if I were talking about him on the podcast, so I'll keep it very vague. But he's been playing around the scene from a very young age, and a lot of people know him. And he's very talented. He's done a lot of prop bets during the year, but is very private. Barely on social media, definitely not on Instagram or Twitter, like does not engage in that side of things. And to the point where when I was working at Palms, I did a social media post for his birthday and I shared it and tagged him on Facebook and he like immediately untagged himself.
And it was a good picture.
Yeah, he looked handsome as hell, but I like made a thoughtful caption too. I was like, order him a Diet Dr. Pepper and have a Chipotle to celebrate Matt. He's like, oh God.
Do you think he'll listen to this, or can I talk more shit?
No, he won't listen to this.
So
but someone will point it out to him. But Maddie, I love you. You're a hoot and a half. And
I played a session
you made the
with
top
him.
5 Texas streamers list that I put together.
I played a session with him one time. I think he was waiting to get into the main game, and that's why he was playing with the lowlifes like myself.
Story checks out.
And I just knew a little bit about him, and I knew that he's going to be opening super wide when he's got good position, especially in a game that he feels like he is twice as good as everybody there, and probably was. So I just decided, you know what? I'm just going to shove every time he opens. I was kind of short stacked. I'm just going to shove every time he opens, and I mean it worked.
Obnoxious.
It worked like 6 or 7 times when he was like in the low jack, the hijack, or the button. I would just shove. So I like had limped and just shove when he raised. There were times I limped just so that he would raise because I was like, I'm just going to just keep stealing $20 every single time.
And then he's like, you coward. So meet me on the battlefield of the flop like a real man.
Well, so there's one hand where he's on the button and I pick up ace king suited and I was like, oh, this is fucking genius. I'm going to limp it and I'm going to shove again. And like, hopefully he finds a call this time, gets sick of my shit and just calls me with ace jack or ace 10 or something like that. I'm going to have him just dead to rights. So I go ahead and I limp the ace king. He raises. I'm like, this is fucking epic. And I just shove and he fucking snaps me off with aces. I was like, wow, that's a good hand.
Yep. You
That's a pretty
Thank
good
you for
hand.
ending the story like that. Yes, he got the best of you.
I am so good at finding aces pre-flop when I shove. It is like amazing how good I am at finding
That's a talent.
It's really.
Yeah.
You should learn how to market that.
You did describe a story in which you did it 7 times in a single session. So I don't know that like it's that big of a mystery that it finally like, oh shit, now you have aces. Yeah, eventually they're gonna have aces.
He's got him right there. That guy that just snap called my all in. Aces right there. Found him. If I could find him before I put the money in, that'd be really, really profitable.
That is a talent that I wish I had.
Number 4, y'all are gonna have to tell me about this. I don't know this guy. Sparks.
Chris Sparks. Chris Sparks, really interesting character. Just a crusher in the poker world. And one of the like genuinely nicest people you'll meet.
Yeah, he's run very, very well on those Monday streams. I've had a front row seat to a few of his peak performances. I tried to bluff into him the last time that I made the stream. I made my move 1 street too late, and he had already gotten there. Unfortunately, he shoved on top of me. Not my finest moment, but he's a really nice guy. He works as a life coach, married fellow, very like polite.
He has a book. I forget what it's called, but who is it?
I have a book called How to Make Sparks Uncomfortable at the Poker Table.
Y'all keep talking. I'm going to look it up. He deserves a proper plug for his
All
book.
I know is that Robert Pape
Yes, I know
is
him.
obsessed with Chris Sparks and Chris Sparks' book. And he was like carrying it around with him at one point in time.
Oh my gosh,
and, like,
that's so cute. I love when boys have crushes on each other.
It's very adorable. But, you know, I've never heard Chris Sparks ever say like a mean word ever.
No, and I always hit him with
it, like in good spirits and brings gifts and like he's just a cool guy. So
I always hit him with the most ridiculous energy, as I do most people, and he's so well natured. We're looking up the book right now.
Forcing Function Hour.
I'm not
looks
sure.
like him.
I mean, that's definitely him, but he might have more than one. Oh, look.
Well, check him out. If he's got multiple books, check him out. He's a nice guy.
I don't know.
Yes.
Nice guy.
But
He's
you
a
can
good
also
poker player.
hire him as a private like coach for your business. If you're an entrepreneur or a business owner, he also provides that service. All right, who next?
Number 3, Ebony Kinney.
Ebony Kinney, what a legend. Ebony Kinney is probably the most popular Austin poker player, full stop. She's got a popular stream. She's got a following on Twitter and Instagram. She live tweets tournaments, like at live tournaments but Twitch streams them at the table. She's a warm, bubbly personality. She's sassy. She's outspoken. Yeah, can't say enough nice things about Ebony.
She's got a great laugh. I've heard her laugh a lot of times.
Very charming.
Which, I mean, I like people that can laugh a lot, but also if your laugh is not obnoxious, it's nice to hear.
Don't look at me when you say it like that.
Oh, I got my harsh but fair.
I got that thinly veiled.
Number
please let someone find me beguiling before I die alone.
Number 2, one DQ James.
DQ James, the legend is he owns a bunch of Dairy Queens, but I don't know if that's true.
I don't know if that's true either, but that is what I heard at first. And then I feel like eventually, like, I may have helped spread that rumor because that's what I was told. And I was like, I just went with it.
No, I think that was a misunderstanding early on in his poker career. Somebody thought he owned a lot of DQs, and so he called himself DQ James, and he had like a car protector that was like a snow cone or something, or a ice cream.
Oh, so he was spreading the rumor also.
Yeah, like he added on to it, but I think he works in the private business sector.
Well, is Dairy Queen not a private business?
I don't want to put him on blast for what he does, but yeah.
I heard a different story, so it's just funny how rumors spread. I heard that he works for Dairy Queen, but like not like
I heard when the full moon is out, DQ
James
James becomes a wildebeest.
I mean, I heard it was like more of an executive position and that kind of stuff.
Did you really?
That the money is from elsewhere. It's not necessarily from like what he does for work. But
I
doesn't
honestly,
matter if it's true.
Obviously, none of us know. He's a
we
mysterious theatrical king, and we stan DQ.
And we wouldn't have it any other way. I want him to stay mysterious. Don't ever tell.
He's very mysterious, and he kind of like. I remember when Chaz first invited him to the stream, and he told me about him before he came, and he was like, "All right, so this guy DQ, he's just a character, and he's gonna bring a lot of money, and he's gonna be a little crazy, and it's gonna be really good for the stream." And I was like, "Yes, please bring him.
I'm 100%
Let's go."
in.
He loves to play literal characters. Like when he came and did the Palm stream, I helped him like film this little video where he did like a James Bond entrance. He likes to bring a private bodyguard with him. He's a fun secret agent, mysterious kind of guy, and I hope he continues appearing on the Texas live streams because it's a lot of fun to play with him.
For sure. Number 1. Any guesses? He has been mentioned already.
Big Daddy, Mama's a Big Daddy Chaz.
Caitlin, rumor has it when you are at a table with Big Daddy Chaz, you call everyone Daddy.
I call everyone Daddy at the table. I'm like, if you want your nickname to be Big Daddy, I am going to abuse that.
So is it like DQ Daddy or Daddy DQ? Daddy
I think Daddy DQ has a better ring to it for sure.
Daddy DQ. No,
so
I
give
was
me some
doing
other
Daddy
daddies.
Daddy Bones, Daddy Westlake, Daddy Sparks.
Daddy Westlake looks like he's 13.
Daddy Farmer, or no, Daddy Slicer.
Oh, man. Well, Chaz is an absolute crusher. I find I say this usually about the best poker players that I know, but it just appears that he runs so good, so pure all the time. Sometimes he takes some creative line and he's in a weird spot, and he probably has a plan to get himself out of it if it doesn't go the way that he does, but he's in there with Jack 9 and just fucking flops a straight. Someone else got bottom set, and you're like, Jesus Christ, that's easy. But yeah, I mean, the guy just... He crushes. He gets max value.
He buys in deep. He plays a lot of hands. He's not afraid to take swings. He's not afraid to be the life of the party. There's a reason why everybody wants him on their stream, because he brings value as both a skilled player and a fun player, and he is top spokesman for Malibu Rum.
Yeah, how much of that does that bottle start full?
There's
we go
been
through
multiple
one every week.
bottles now.
Okay, so and he's sharing, or does he drink
Yeah,
the
no,
entire
I
thing?
drink the Malibu with him. I was trolling him last week. We were taking shots on the live stream. I was like, someone was like, "Oh, well, you've had I was like, "Oh, I haven't really been drinking very much." And they're like, "Well, you just had 2 shots of Malibu." I'm like, "Yeah, but like the alcohol content, that's so low. That's like alcohol for a child."
It's true. I mean, it's true. When I was a child, it was a choice alcohol.
We don't have time for your trauma, Carolyn.
Okay.
No, sorry. Oh my gosh. All right.
Shall
do you have
we move
anything
on
else to say about Big Daddy?
No, but we
About
do
Zaddy?
I adore Chaz. I think he's a great guy, and obviously great poker player, and a blast to have, week in and week out. And he is the lifeblood of TCH Live Monday night
And Rounders.
and Rounders too. Absolutely,
He's the foundational stalwart of a couple. Franchises.
But he's also one of those people who's he's been like super supportive of me and of TCH Live, and I appreciate him so much for that. So
genuinely nice person.
absolutely.
Is he podcast worthy?
Oh,
Will-
100%.
Absolutely.
He will
You gotta
sit
get
in
that
Carolyn's
live.
chair one
Get
day.
Zaddy in between me
You gotta
and
get that
Craig.
laugh on the podcast for
No,
sure.
like when Chaz and I appear on a live stream together, it's just like cackling all night
yes,
long.
that sounds about right.
All
He
night
also
long.
has a very recognizable laugh. When you watch the stream, you can do nothing but hear Chaz laugh
I
the
do
entire
miss
time.
the old soundbite that Mike Youngbutt had on loop of Chaz's. He made it sound like real creepy and maniacal though,
Because it just kept going?
Yeah, it was real bad. But and then he had like a normal Chaz laugh soundbite also. But I kind of miss that because we used to just bring it in every once in a while.
Well, shout out to my favorite Zaddy. Number one of my list, Zaddy.
Is he your biggest daddy?
Yes, he's at the top of
Your
the daddy
biggest
food chain
and
for
favorite
sure.
daddy?
No, one of my favorite moments was one of the dealers. I think it might have been Sal or Ryan. I don't remember. Is the little blonde kid with the sandy hair. Is that Ryan?
Brian, yeah.
Yeah, he kept like whenever he was
Ryan.
doing
I
the
feel like
action.
whatever happened, I feel bad for him.
No, it's cute. He's like, okay, C4 folds, Big Daddy raises. And he kept doing it like Big Daddy folds. And Bones was like, you can call him Chaz, right?
Or seat 5 or
Yeah.
whatever.
I was like, don't you dare.
I am
Don't
glad
you
that
dare
he went
disrespect
away
Daddy.
when things first opened up after COVID. He was doing this like mountainous chip thing. That was a little bit
I think we
obnoxious.
basically told him like we don't have enough green chips in house anymore.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what happened to them, but no, you cannot have $10,000 worth. of
Seemed
green
like he would verbalize his action and be pretty efficient about it, but I just thought, oh my god, there's so many people that are thinking about playing poker for the first time, and they're gonna want they're gonna buy into a 1-2 game for 300, and they're gonna be like, give me all whites. Oh, you dipshit! It's gonna take you 28 minutes.
I
to
talk
put out
about
a bet.
this on stream all the time with people who inefficiently bet. Bet with inefficient chip denominations. It's a pet peeve of mine. Let me tell you.
It just wastes everybody's time.
I can
the
tell
worst.
in tournaments that some people do it strategically.
I hate it.
To not
I
only
want, like,
tilt the
put-
dealer and the
it
other
puts me on
players.
tilt, let me tell
and so
you.
that they can feel like more of a big guy with a bunch of big chips. So they just bet their highest denomination every time
I
to
actually
accrue
don't hate.
more and more
I would
chips.
rather people bet. Well, I hate when people in tournaments will bet huge denomination chips, get the change back, and then refuse to make change for anybody at the table. That happened to me at WSOP last year. There was this one guy at the table. He had like all the 100 chips in play at the table, and then when I was like trying to be helpful to the dealer, being like, "Hey, can you get change?" And he's like, he's like, "No," and I was like, it wasn't until the dealer was like, "Can you make change for me? Because you literally have all the small chips."
You have to. There's no
And
other option. Please don't make me call over floor.
And I didn't even realize. And I mean, it was strategic in the sense that he was short stack at the table, and I had no idea because he had so many. The quantity of chips.
No, the
was
people
just
that are
massive.
doing it is a premeditated crime.
I was so happy when he busted. I was like, thank God.
Get that man off the table.
We
You
just
deserve it.
dispersed all the 100 chips to everybody at the table, and we were all happy and made our own change. It was a beautiful thing. That didn't happen, but
You wave and tell him to enjoy his karma as he walks away.
yeah, get out of here.
Empty-handed. So this is where we usually do a hand review. I have one. It is decent. It is
Okay, go
not-
for it because I don't have anything loaded
Okay.
up.
I was playing at Red Star. There was one player in the game that I don't want to say I fear, but I respect, right? I know that this guy can punish me. He's also the only guy I believe that had me covered at the time. I believe we're about 3 to 400 effective, and everyone else has just either bought the table max or is below it. So he's the only guy. He's got like 1,000 in front of him, so he has me covered. So if we get into it, we're playing for all of it. And like I said, he's the only player there that I'm going to respect enough to tread lightly. So I look at pocket tens in middle position, and he opens from early position. So early position open, I know this to be a 3-bet. Like, you should absolutely be 3-betting tens. But I said, you know what? I kind of want to control the size of the pot, and I also don't know how much I have to 3-bet in order to actually get heads up. Do I even want to be heads up against him? No, I want some fish in here. So I want to invite some people in. The other thing is everyone was so short. If I 3-bet to like 60 or 70, I'm going to get a short stack to shove on me, and I just have no idea where I am. I just have to call off and hope for the best. So I choose not to 3-bet, and we go like 5 or 6 ways to the flop. Get about the best flop I can ask for. It's like 5, 6, 8 rainbow. So I'm like, ooh, I'm going to get a ton of money from sevens. I'm going to just raise whatever he bets. So he's first to go, doesn't bet, chooses to check, doesn't want to lead into 5 or 6 players. And I'm like, oh no. So now I'm the one that has to lead. So I'm kind of, even at this point, because there's so many people in there, I'm starting to think like SPR type of stuff, which is weird because I started with 400 and a 1-2 hand, and my flop bet is like making me think about that. So I decide to go for almost full pot, like 90. And 3 people call, including the one player I'm trying to avoid. So I'm hoping for a clean turn. And with that much money in there, I'm like, I'm shoving now. I'm shoving a clean turn. That wasn't really the intent. I wanted to have 3 barrels. So turn comes as clean as possible. It's an offsuit deuce. And now I know, like with 3 calls, there's a 7 in the field and they're not going to want to fold. So I have to just rip it. So he checks it over to me without any delay. I rip it. It is like a little bit over pot, whatever it was that I had left. And I knew that, but I certainly didn't have 2 bets left, and I wasn't going to bet enough to have a pot size shove because that's just inviting a 7 to hit their straight. So one guy just absolutely hates folding. You can tell it's just killing him to fold. And I'm like, okay, so there's a 7. He's probably got like 7, 8. He's probably got like a pair, top pair and the draw, but just hates the price. Hates that there's players behind him still. So he folds. Next guy didn't think that long. Gets back to the main guy, the one guy I'm worried about. And I'm like, I don't even know if I want him to call at this point. I kind of just want to win the pot. And so I'm thinking, boy, maybe he's the one with 7, 8. Maybe he opened with a really, really big hand and just, checked out of position just to kind of get this money in. I'm like, boy, maybe I'm in a bad spot. And finally he shows me his hand. He says, can you beat a deuce? He turned a pair of deuces. I had to question how much I was respecting this guy. And I said, yes, I can beat a deuce. If you hit another one, though, you're going to win. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah. No, that's where you and I differ. I never
respect people.
Got me. Guilty. No, when I get the money in, I almost if I know I don't have the stones or whatever, I just I count out my money and I'm like, okay, if I go through the mental exercise of okay, if I rebuy back here, okay, I just I'm always willing to get it in to my detriment.
Yeah, I thought it to be an interesting hand because it does show some of the Texas poker nuance in that the game is not super deep and there's usually not a lot of players that are real crushers. You got a lot of people calling. And so I thought, boy, if I 3-bet, am I even going to get anything out of it? Or am I just possibly 3-betting with the worst hand to a better player? And I just don't necessarily want to do that. If I knew I was going to get him heads up, then I would probably 3-bet because I have position on him. And I have a hand that's, definitely in the 3-betting range. What was your hand?
I'm so sorry.
Tens.
I wasn't paying attention for the first. You didn't, from what position?
I was in the middle.
What does that mean? Low jack?
No. I was not that far along. We're playing full ring. We're playing 9-handed. I'm probably third, fourth action. He was under the gun.
So you're +2 or you're the low jack?
I'm +3. Maybe 2, but I think it was 3.
How many people are in between you and this guy?
Everybody else. So he's under the gun, and then there's 2 players, me. Everyone else is behind me.
So you're...
And damn near everyone behind me called.
+3, which would be...
I think it's a 3-better fold when you're early position versus early position, hun. It's usually a 3-better fold.
I went with a call.
Good work.
You know how I was talking earlier about how you can't make money just calling? And then here I am telling a big story about a spot where I called. Yeah, I mean, I think it's results oriented, but I think I make less if I 3-bet. Maybe just everybody folds and I just win $20.
Yeah, but the whole like the reason that you 3-bet and 4-bet is to win the blinds. That is why they are a thing, is because we want to win small pots and we want to win the blinds because that is how we have a consistent hourly BB.
Right, but you also 3-bet and 4-bet to get it to heads up, so you only have to navigate one player. And I didn't feel that was going to work.
Okay, apparently I cannot tell you misplayed this hand, but congrats. Way to win.
Nice hand. Yep.
All right, so now we are going to move on to our final segment that we have already hinted at. This is Harsh But Fair. In Harsh But Fair, you receive very direct feedback. You are not allowed to make excuses for your feedback. You simply have to receive it and say harsh but fair. All right, Craig, do you want to go first today?
Sure. Can I start with Carolyn?
Yes.
All right. Okay. Carolyn?
Yes.
I found out approximately 35 minutes ago that we hail from the same very small state in this country. I find that to be incredibly ironic, incredibly unlikely. We also have others, New Hampshireites that I didn't know, in the poker community in Austin. Kind of unbelievable. I guess maybe it's my fault, but I'm going to blame you because it's harsh but fair. So, like, how about a shout out maybe on the live stream, something, represent New Hampshire so I know that these people are out there.
I mean, I not
she
gonna
literally has, Craig.
It's harsh but fair, sure, but like literally, I have. Yeah. Without multiple times. Yeah.
I need to listen better.
Yes.
Speaking of listening better, Caitlin.
Okay.
Both of you.
I'm so sorry, Jack. It was too much. It's too much. All right, y'all. We have to retake Harsh But Fair because Craig put me on blast too fucking hard.
We got way too harsh. Apparently, there are limits.
It was harsh and unfair.
It was harsh and unfair in a way that sets me up for failure and disaster. So I'm going to go and Craig's going to come back to
I thought
me.
it would just be as savage as you can.
You got so detailed though. Like I liked it.
Fair.
I liked the spirit and the things you were criticizing, but like you went into such explicit detail that we can't air that shit, bro.
Fine.
In fact, Caitlin, is harsh but fair.
Okay, there's your harsh but fair.
You don't get 2 in 1.
Is that you went too detailed on your harsh but fair, and now we have to do a new one, even though the content was good.
Okay. All right, well, at least we got a laugh out of it.
And also, you're a terrible gal pal. I call you up for emotional support about my anxieties and my neurosisms, and you just want to like care for your toddler and your wife. It's like, I don't even matter.
Okay, we're going to do this right now. Your harsh but fair is that you were quick to fire me as gal pal, which is a position I never applied for. But you fired me, and then we find out today, 2 days later, that I was given the wrong information. The information I was supposed to care so deeply and passionately about and be there for you to say, oh, you're 100% right. This is crazy. This is big. Wow, what news. I didn't even have the right information. No wonder I gave zero shits.
So hard. Pie all up and around in all my face crevices. Harsh but fair, man. Harsh but fair.
All right. That was an easy one.
All right. I got to do Carolyn now?
Sure.
Okay. Carolyn, your harsh but fair is that you look too much like me.
Oh man, that was what I was gonna go with.
I got there first. You could do your own spin on it, I guess. You look way too much like me, and everybody confuses us. It doesn't bother me because I find you to be gorgeous and lovely, so I'm never offended. But I mean, we need our own lanes, and these boys have to figure out who the hell we are and what the differences are. She has blue eyes, and I'm a bitch. Get it straight. Harsh but fair.
That's
very harsh and very fair.
That was very fair.
All right, y'all. This has been the Texas. Oh, did you want to go? No, you got to do Craig. He's got to do Craig.
Yeah. So, Craig, my harsh but fair for you is that you warned me before the podcast, that you were gonna curse a lot. I don't know that I heard you curse. I heard Caitlin curse a lot. But I don't know if I heard you curse at all.
I mean, it's going to be out there. It's going to be published.
You're obviously a liar, or I wasn't listening well. One of those two things.
I think I cursed.
Take your feedback.
That's harsh, but fucking fair.
Cool. All right, we're good.
There we go.
And Caitlin, we had the same harsh but fair for each other, so it's fine.
And how would you describe the difference?
You're like,
Exactly what Caitlin
spot on.
said. Yeah. Well, she was right.
Just spot on.
Nailed it.
All right, y'all. This has been the Texas Poker Experience. Thank you to our sponsor, Patch Addict. If you're watching us on YouTube, we would love it if you subscribe to our channel, you like this video, you leave a comment. It really helps us with the algorithm and appearing to other people like you that like niche poker content. So engage in our content, please. If you don't already, please find us on Instagram at the Texas Poker Experience. We clip up fun little clips from the episode featuring our guests and our, spot on hate of each other. That we hope that you enjoy. Please leave a comment when you see those. Give it a thumbs up. Share it on your stories. Let people know that, Texas poker is growing and it's alive and well. We're going to talk about it. Thanks for tuning in, y'all. Have a good week. And don't forget to put the straddle on.
And don't be a nit like me.